Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Anna, you're watching Astro Lady Tarot. I want to do a good old deck video because I saw this tag, the prompts were fun, and I basically started lining up my decks, my multitude of decks at this point. So, let's see. It's time of the first actual deck video, I guess, on my channel this year. Get ready, get cozy, get a nice drink, nice beverage, something. Maybe pick out a tarot deck that you want to shuffle while watching this video. And let's get into it. This is, I think, hashtag tarot collection top decks, a VR to 78 puertas. So we have 21 questions, okay? And for each questions, you show a deck of your collection. And my collection, I would call it big at this point, but still it's small compared to a lot of people on YouTube. I'm at this point that I have a very clear core collection, core decks that I love and work with pretty much every day. The thing is though, I still also love to play. So let's start. Question one, what was your first tarot deck? So my tarot deck was good old Rider-Waite-Smith yellow box. And this you can see is the blue box because this is actually the closest to that particular copy that I had. I'm realizing I'm zoomed in a little too much. I'm gonna zoom out here. Hope that's okay. So yeah, plaid backs, but it was the Dutch language because I'm from the Netherlands. I live in Amsterdam currently. And because it was the Dutch language on the tarot deck, we had that ugly font. I was never a fan of that. Also never a fan of the colors. This is vintage blue box, actually Blushing Fool, which I treasure as a Rider-Waite-Smith lover. The colors and the quality and the feel of this is actually really beautiful. But yeah, the deck that I had, that I bought at the age of I think 14, 15 years old. I'm pretty sure 15 years old. Yeah, wasn't in love with it, but it's actually this one. It's the closest to what it was like. In case you don't know the story of that 90s copy, pretty sure. Check it out, Blushing Fool. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it's pretty clear in real life. Um, the story of my first copy of a tarot deck, actually, that I purchased, because actually as a kid I was playing with carte napoletane, thinking they were tarot deck. Anyway, the first copy I purchased, I also sold for like a couple euros to this guy who wanted to take the deck with him to India because he was going there for a trip, spiritual trip, pretty sure, and that's where my deck went, guys. So yeah, that was my very first tarot deck ever. Now, what is my most recent tarot deck? Quickly showing you this one because this is a Smith-Waite deck that I have made from a vintage copy, and I'm currently selling this on Make Playing Cards, but then I made a beautiful English version for you guys. So here I have the Dutch version. I colored the majors in by hand. That's officially my last purchase. If we are not talking about my own deck, this is my last purchase, Tarot de l'Incarnation. And this is a Marseille system. I really like it. I really like it. I may make a video about just this deck, because this is not the typical tarot tube lovable deck. Cardstock is not what we're looking for. It's glossy. Computer art, even though one of my top two decks definitely is computer art, and you will see it in this video, I'm not a fan of computer art, even though this I feel is lovely. Starch white. There's a lot wrong with it, even though it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's a French creator. I actually received or got gifted the book for, well, that goes along with this deck, kind of the big one, gifted by my grandparents because they are French. And I saw the book in the store and I thought, that looks really interesting. And then only years later, you guys actually told me that the deck was available on Amazon, and I did not hesitate. And this may not actually be a forever deck for me, but there's something about it that I like and I want to work with it more. So yeah, maybe I'll show this one on my channel, give it a little bit more time in the spotlight, because it's not one, this one flew under the radar, I feel, even though it's actually quite nice. Maybe the Tarot de Marseille enthusiasts on here might want to take a look at this. I think it's really cool. Yeah. Question 3, which tarot deck has the best colors? I forgot to say I want to talk about Oracle as well, and this is a quick little view. I wanted to make a joke, actually. This is my own deck. And it's not Oracle either, it's just a deck for witchy practice, magical practice. This deck is called Magical Guidance Cards, and these are all photos that I took. No AI here, and I just love to show it, especially with a question like this, which deck has the best colors? In my opinion, my own deck. Hell yeah. But let's get this one out of the way. We've seen it. Okay, we got it. Le Tarot par Paul K. Okay, this deck, and it's a tarot deck, so it fits the actual question, but I will, disclaimer, show you some more oracle decks in this video. In my opinion, this deck has amazing colors. It's actually similar to Magical Guidance Cards, the deck that I just showed you. I love these jewel toned, very deep. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? This is also a deck that pairs well with Magical Guidance Cards. And I mean, I think, again, pretty underrated deck. Maybe it's out of print by now, I don't know. But I love using this one. Yeah, yeah, I love using this one. And you might think it's pretty gross seeing intestines here, but they're actually umbilical cords. The creator Polka, or that's of course like a stage name, creator name, really, as you can see, loves the gory stuff. It doesn't shock me at all. There's a lot of symbolism in there, a lot of meaning that you can get out of it, but also, they definitely had fun making these. You can tell it's just so much satire, which also actually fits the original Tarot de Marseille, because there was a lot of satire about the king and the queen, and yeah. The Fool is my least favorite card in this deck, but the entire deck is so gorgeous that I forgive this single card. Yeah, very sweet. Another vibe for colors, without a doubt, guys. Hoi polloi. I love vintage things. This is a 70s deck. And so, yeah, I would say different vibe, because I am all about the dark, the blackest black. I love seeing that. And then some deep colors, jewel tones, and these are also deep colors, but very different atmosphere. I adore this too, though. For the longest time, I had my entire house decorated in this sort of 70s, this burnt orange color until I switched to like dark blue, dark red, even dark yellow, weirdly enough, but it works. um, and yeah, this is absolutely, I treasure this deck so much. I love it. I love it. So definitely in the category of best colors. I, by the way, don't have answers or decks for every question. For instance, this one, what deck has the best faces? I could show you a deck, a random deck from my collection, but this question actually made me realize something, or remembered, because I already knew this about myself. Weird rambly story, but the thing is, I love my decks, but what I love about, let's let's look at the hoi polloi some more. What I love about a card we haven't seen yet, maybe this one, the world. What I love about tarot cards is the entire card. I'm not so much about the details. What pulls me in, what draws me into a card is the whole face of the card. So, for instance, here, I love the symmetry, right? And then the focal point, and then you start to get into it like a staircase. But I'm not so much about faces. I'm not really looking at the face. I don't know how to tell you. Maybe I should just show you one of my favorite decks, Triomphe de la Luna, the paradoxical version. I know those faces really well, but then again, the classic Centennial Rider-Waite-Smith, that's Pam A type Rider-Waite-Smith. I adore those faces. I know those faces. Toth, another system I love, but those faces, I mean, I think they're gorgeous, but that's the thing. They're gorgeous because they're kind of hidden. Rarely do you see a figure looking at you directly. Actually, I believe only in two cards. So interesting. I don't know. That's just how I do my tarot practice. I'm not really a face person. What is your largest tarot deck? So here I have my largest deck, which is Living Altar. These cards, I mean, I have large hands, okay, and I love large decks, but these cards, especially with that rubber finish, unshufflable, absolutely unshufflable. Yet they're really, useful in altar work. They're like altar cards to me. So, oh, and this deck got me into, weirdly enough, the color red. I fell in love with the color red again. And this medium of lino cut. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, this is a deck to look out for. I don't know. I love it. Biggest tarot deck, though, my Thoth. Thoth Greenie. Thoth. Look at how green these are. Oh my god. So I sold my 78 version, which is probably more valuable than this one. This is 86, 82. I forget. But I love this deck. It was my first vintage Thoth deck. I got this years ago when I opened the white box, because this comes in a white box. I saw the cellophane was still on it. And I realized, oh my god, it's an actual greenie, and a really green greenie. It's gorgeous. And you see, this is what I mean in the Thoth. You have faces, and to me they are expressive, but they're all very deliberately, I think, turned away. They don't. You see, the characters, they don't really look at you, and even here, no pupils. So Absolutely gorgeous deck. Oh my God. And I think I did well to cull or yeah, sell the other greenie because I was never using it. When I reach for a greenie, this is the one that I reach for. It's the best in my opinion. So yeah, largest tarot deck is Thoth for me, Thoth Greenie. Smallest deck, this gorgeous baby, Secret Pocket Oracle. Just a quick look because I know it's Oracle. This, guys, is a gem. I love these cards. Actually, I do wish I had them in this size in the like the blue edition, you know, the black light, because I actually have a black light for one of my favorite decks, which is by the same creator, Patrick Valenza. Yeah, this this is wow, wow. Let's jump ahead and just because I have it in my hands here. I also don't have a deck for best backs. This though, probably this, right? It's a very intuitive deck and so small, but it works, you know? Because really small cards, they can be rather annoying in my opinion. But this, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it works. Smallest tarot deck is a beautiful vintage little baby. I'm not keeping this though, because even though it can be pretty handy, I'm not feeling the tarot magic through this size cards. Or at least, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's I guess it's not for me, but it's a very sweet little deck. So that's actually my current smallest tarot deck. The best court cards, maybe Thoth because they're gorgeous. Yeah, maybe Thoth. Even though I must admit, I don't. I have Thoth in my list with a big question mark for this question because even though they are gorgeous, you've seen the Knight of Cups just now. I work with it differently, is what I'm saying. I work with it elementally more than in hierarchy. Most worn out deck. Here we go. I made this whole tag years ago telling you that I love disheveled decks, decks that are worn out where you can see that the person who reads with the deck actually reads with it and loves it and it's been through something. Oh, I've definitely been through so many things with this deck. So yeah, this is my most worn out deck. I've edged it already twice, maybe 3 times at this point. I've even like um, fixed some blemishes or tried to at least, and now I'm just letting it be what it is. Oh my god, I love this deck. Obviously, this is like my deck on Tarot YouTube by now. So yeah, most worn out deck. This is the Triomphe de la Luna Paradoxical Original Edition, meaning the Marseille version. Most esoteric deck. Okay, I can argue with you Thoth, right? Because of all the layers. Don't forget though, guys, Thoth is the same or very similar, maybe from apart from the court cards, you could argue, same system, same roots. Let's at least agree on that as Smith-Waite. Okay, Rider-Waite-Smith, Thoth, both Golden Dawn traditions. So those decks are hella esoteric, right? Then let's include this deck, Kazanlar, extremely esoteric. What do I even mean by that? But yeah, extremely esoteric with this whole, I mean, I love this card. There's so many layers and so many traditions. I would definitely call this a very esoteric deck. Next, actually probably Marielle, esoteric in its own way. Kazanlar and Marielle are on the shelf of decks I don't use currently. even though this is the problem, they are gorgeous. But this very, very esoteric, deep deck as well. I know, guys. Question 10. What tarot deck is the best one for shadow work? So, I'm not going to claim that I know the best deck for shadow work for you, but for me, for me, this baby and this baby. Seriously, guys, so you've seen this one, and this is my other baby. This is just my top two, okay? Crow's Magic Tarot. I again been through so much with these images. It has a very specific voice. It's a dedicated deck. To me, that means it's more than a tarot deck. It's like a portal to deity work. This is probably my favorite card. I don't know, but I love it. And by the way, to me, this is also a great back. Which deck has the best cardstock? All right. So I believe I used to be more of a cardstock snob than I am now. And well, this may surprise you. I don't know, guys, but good old Centennial, I love what they did here. This feels like the real old thing, you know? I wish more decks came in this thicker, hardly coated stock. I think it works really, really well. And I think US Games only made this deck in this stock, but to me, it's really, really quite perfect. The second contender, actually, I have to say, this is another 90s deck, same as Crow's Magic Tarot, which you've just seen. So, very similar cardstock, maybe even the same. So, this is 90s vintage original Tarot of a Moon Garden, which actually is my inner child deck. I use this for inner child work. Gorgeous cardstock. They don't make them like this anymore. And this one is copyright 1993 US Games. It's that nice heavy stock, you know? Actually, the Toth Greenie that I have, pretty similar, heavy, thicker card stock. Perfect finish on the cards. I actually love this question. Which tarot deck has the best sound when you shuffle it? I mean, did you guys forget about this deck? The first edition, what's this called? Wild Unknown Tarot. So let's hear it. Is that swishy swooshy action? Yes. Next question. Which ones of your tarot decks is the most misunderstood? So this is a funny question because you can actually misunderstand the question itself. So I will answer it in both ways. The first way I understood this question is which deck is the most misunderstood by others, I guess? When this deck, which is in my top 5 ritual tarot deck, came out, for some reason, and your reasons are valid to you, you know, I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right. That's not how I roll, all right? But for some reason, the creator in this deck got so much hate. And even I heard like people saying it's not even that good of a collage because it's obviously collage style and it's analog collage. You're allowed your opinion and everything, but it went pretty far and I don't really know why. Why do we hate on one thing and not an I don't even know what I'm saying, but that was actually my first thought when I read that question. I think when the deck came out, there were misunderstandings about it, and it doesn't mean that there's wrong or right. And of course, again, you're allowed your opinion, but I reviewed it as the first person online, or maybe, or just one of the first people. I don't remember, but yeah, um, I loved it, you know? So that is my opinion. And just getting this little thing off my chest. Again, everybody's allowed to say what they want on their channel, but there are some clear things that I realize, and I do that too. When we have like very strong negative opinions about something, that is praised by people. You can tell by the response and the comments saying, "Ah, finally someone who speaks the truth." Whereas when you have very positive, strong opinions about something, you don't get the same response, because positivity can more often online be seen as something fake, and when you're negative, it brings in the drama and the entertainment. And yeah, I, I just felt the need to say that out loud at least once. So let me know what you think about this. And it's fine, I do that too. Like when somebody is, yeah, I'm just saying, we, there's a bit of a pattern when it comes to that. Second misunderstood deck, so understanding that question differently, would be this Dutch Toth deck that I have. This is the deck that I buried at some point, that I set on fire, that I made keywords for the court cards, which, you can tell they're beautiful. I love them. I also held it in the rain, and yeah, held it in incense. So all the elements. Yet, oh man, I kept getting really negative cards. And at the time of using this deck a lot, I wasn't in the best headspace. So any negative thing that I saw, it just basically amplified, I felt like the deck was really not showing me any support, even though that's clearly what I needed at the time. And it's a shame, because I got this deck, I was gifted this deck by Farida, friend of mine, and she kept her brother's copy, and she gifted me hers, and it is a treasured copy for sure, for that reason alone. So yeah, I we did make up, I think, this deck and I. It just took a little while. And this is now a deck that's permanently on my altar. Oh yeah, I realize I didn't do question number 13, Soft Silky Touch. Which deck has the best Soft Silky Touch? I don't know. I don't know. So next question, which is your most ancient tarot deck, or the most historical? Ancient, historical, and hysterical. Ancient Mysteries Tarot deck. Yep, this is the type of deck that nobody wants, even though I believe another tarot creator or video maker has this deck and enjoys it. I don't remember who, but I mean, we seem to like it. Two people, yay. No, I'm just saying it's fun to work with. Again, maybe not a forever deck, because it definitely is flawed and it's really ugly, but something about it that I like. Yeah, just the old stones kind of thing. I love archaeology. I love architecture. I love mysteries. Yeah, yeah. I'm a 90s kid. I grew up with 90s witches on TV and movies, and the whole curse of the pharaoh stuff. Yeah, beautiful. Ancient Egypt. And then maybe a bit more of a serious answer. Uh, oh, yeah. The Tarot de Marseille. What's this called? Lo Scarabeo Anima Antiqua. Yeah. This, it again, they did such a good job. It feels ancient, it feels old, feels like the real thing. Had it been printed on US Games Centennial cardstock, then it definitely would have felt also like the old thing, because this is way too smooth for sure, but on the other hand, it's really nice stock still. Yeah, this is my no frills, all, pretty much original imagery of Tarot de Marseille. So I enjoy this so much. And the colors are gorgeous, and I love that it looks old, is what I'm trying to say. Like original Tarot de Marseille, even though I showed you Tarot de l'Incarnation, which is computer, this is my preference for sure. Regarding art style, when it looks old and sometimes blurry and smudged, basically flawed, but it's so charming. It's so charming. Yes. So ancient system, ancient looking cards. Which tarot deck was the most surprising? I think Tantric Dakini Oracle or Secret Dakini Oracle. Again, not really a tarot deck. Also in the name, this one says Oracle, obviously, but basically it's every card is the equivalent of a tarot card. And we have 3 extra cards, time cards, that's like past, present, future. But no court cards in this one. But oh my god, working with this deck, it blows my mind. Reading the guidebook, it's always something really cool in there. So if you are on the hunt for something that's a little different, something that's analog collage, that's vintage, this is a newer copy, but still it's a deck that came out in the 70s, I'm pretty sure. And so deep, and it is gorgeous, it is. Then I definitely recommend this one. Hell yeah. Yeah. And funny. Most surprising in a good way, for sure. Then, which tarot deck has the best purchase story? Oh, right. I can show you this one first, the Royal Fez Moroccan Tarot deck. This is a 70s vintage one. Very Tarot de Marseille colors, but it's obvious Rider-Waite-Smith clone. It's really nice, guys. This deck is really, really quite sweet. If you're looking for obvious Rider-Waite-Smith clone, with probably the exception of the Death card, which is straight from Marseille, but you're looking for more vintage, more exclusive sort of imagery, yeah, this is a gorgeous deck. Only problem, of course, long out of print. I think it goes for pretty crazy prices, but I got this, I don't know how many years ago, before I started my channel, for like 10 euros. So yeah, that's a pretty nice story just for that, just for the price. Whoops. But this also has a pretty fun story. Tarot throwback, okay? To me, I interpreted that as working with my inner child, basically. So I would work with Tarot of Moon Garden, but then also the first deck that I had as a kid. As I told you earlier, I used to play not with this specific deck because I bought this last year, 2 years ago, because I had obviously lost the copy that I was playing with. But I used to play tarot with these cards, Moriano Napoletane playing cards. And I mean, they still are very mysterious to me. I haven't learned the system, and I think it's also depends on the tradition that you're working with, but to me they're gorgeous, and actually obviously would work well with the primary colors in the Marseille or Moroccan Fez. the story about this deck is simply that I'm going back into childhood, even though I don't know how to read with these. It reminds me of me as a 9 or 10-year-old girl in the attic of our old home, which we no longer have. Pretend reading tarot with these mysterious looking cards. I had made this whole sheet of meanings, and I was reading tarot for myself. I was reading tarot to my stuffed animals. And the attic was just such a magical place for me. And, not a moment of boredom in my childhood, I can say. And maybe that's not a purchase story per se, but yeah, it's pretty cool anyway, so I thought I'd share. What tarot deck do you always use for self readings? Guys, seriously. So, Rider-Waite-Smith, beautiful system. Yet, the two decks I always reach for are these. Self readings, I usually go specifically trying to do shadow work, right? Or specifically looking at deep inner work, let's call it that, if you don't necessarily want to call it shadow work, because it's, there's a debate about that. If you're aware of your shadow, it's already no longer shadow, you're talking about ego, etc., whatever. But this is the deep, meaningful work because I see myself in these decks. These are my go-to decks, my two, I don't think I would have the tarot practice that I adore today for myself if I didn't have these two decks. There would still be something missing, and right now I'm like, as long as I have these two, I'm good. So, which is the most difficult tarot deck to be mastered? Okay. A lot of people answered Thoth from the videos that I saw at this point, which I absolutely understand. On the other hand, Thoth to me is just like Tothified Marseille. It's a pip deck. I agree there are some things that are difficult about it, but I think the most difficult tarot deck to master is very personal. For instance, for me, the Marielle is the hardest one to master, or the Kazanlar is the hardest one to master. Actually, probably Marielle, because Marielle, wait, her name is Marie White, right? There we go. Marie White, not Mary, Marie White. Thanks for correcting me. She made such a personal deck. And of course, why would you not make a personal deck? It's great. But I have a problem with this deck. The problem is, I unfortunately do not like it very much. And so, guys, the lesson here, even though, yes, it's sweet, it's gorgeous, it's so deep, I know all this. But the lesson here is, if you really want to master tarot or master a deck, make sure that you love it, right? And I understand it. By working with it, you will start to love it. But there has to be something about the images that draws you in, that that you like, that you're attracted to. And I can't say I'm not attracted to this artwork, but I can say maybe it's just too much, right? So I'm keeping it for a rainy day, and we'll see if it ever gets its moment in my practice. I hope so. Maybe I should like put a sort of a timer on it. We'll see, guys. I'm not ready to let go of that one just yet, but that's just the truth. Most difficult tarot deck to master is the one you don't actually like. So, what tarot deck is the best overall? Conclusion: the best tarot deck overall is the deck that you love. And it's not just the artwork that you love, okay, guys? It's not just the artwork that you love. You love the deck because you know it. You have laughed with it. You have cried with it. It's the deck that has scuff marks because you shuffled it so many times and you dropped it so many times. Like this deck, it's Crow's Magic Tarot. It has wings. It wants to fly. It keeps flying out of my hands all the time. And I must say, I think I'm a pretty good shuffler. But the deck that you have a true connection with, that maybe you even have a very personal bond to, and there's a specific world even that started to come into realization, or whatever, however you say that. Like, I have this whole Triomphie realm, and I have this whole Crow's Magic realm, and they're friends for sure. This is the same realm but just depicted differently. To me, this is the perfect type of deck, at least the best overall. You know, again, I could argue it's a system, a deck that's a scenic pips or whatever. Ultimately, the best deck is, I think, the deck, if you find it, that reflects you. And if you want a little piece of me, these two decks are all you need, I'd say, honestly, which is crazy, putting this deck over a masterpiece like Toth, for instance. But that's what I'm saying. This is a part of my soul, people. Let's not exaggerate, but nah, maybe it's true. Anyway, I think that was it, and I hope you enjoyed the answers to all of these questions, maybe especially the last two. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope this was fun for you. I know this video came up a little later, but here it is nonetheless, and I will see you next time. Much love. Bye.